everyone. Today, I want to take you on a journey. Not a journey of the world, but a journey with it. A journey where you stop, take a breath, and ask yourself, how do I think? And more importantly, is my thinking helping me grow or holding me back? You see, life is not always kind. It doesn't ask for our permission before throwing challenges our way. It doesn't knock before turning our world upside down. But what life does give us is a choice. The choice of how we respond. And that response begins with how we think. We are often taught what to think, what to wear, what success should look like, what failure should feel like. But no one teaches us how to think, how to be kind to ourselves when we fall, how to see light when surrounded by darkness, how to turn pain into power. So today, I will teach you how to think correctly, not because I am perfect, but because I've learned that right thinking doesn't mean ignoring pain. It means giving your pain a purpose. Right thinking is not about toxic positivity. It is about real, raw, courageous hope. The kind of hope that holds your hand when the world walks away. To think correctly is to know that your worth is not defined by your past, not by your scars, your losses, or your broken pieces. To think correctly is to embrace those cracks and say, this is where my light comes from. Correct thinking means you don't measure your life by the applause of others, but by the peace within yourself. It means celebrating small victories, even when nobody notices. It means standing up every time life knocks you down. Not because you have to, but because you want to. Because your story isn't over yet. And if you're sitting here today believing you're not enough, that you failed too many times, or that you'll never rise again, I want you to pause and tell yourself, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Thinking correctly means knowing that healing is not linear. Growth is not perfect. And courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward despite it. So let me leave you with this. The world doesn't need more people who know what to think. It needs more people who know how to think. People who choose empathy over judgment, purpose over pain, and love over fear. Think correctly. Think bravely. Think beautifully. Life doesn't ask for permission. It tests us. But we control how we think and respond. Right thinking begins where control ends. Not over the situation, but over our mindset. We are taught what to think, not how to think. Correct thinking is about self-awareness, purpose, and resilience, not following patterns set by others. Pain is not your prison. It can be your power. When you give pain a purpose, it becomes a platform, not a punishment. Your worth is not defined by your past. Scars aren't signs of weakness. They are proof that healing is possible and strength is real. Right thinking doesn't mean avoiding struggle. It means choosing hope through it. It's about waking up, showing up, and believing that today can be better, even if only a little. The world needs thinkers who choose empathy, courage, and self-belief. Thinking correctly transforms not just your life, but the lives you touch. Life doesn't ask for permission. It tests us. That's a truth many of us learn the hard way. We grow up believing that if we follow the rules, if we are kind, if we try hard enough, life will be fair. But life is not a contract with predictable terms. It's not a promise that things will go our way. Life is more like the ocean. Beautiful, vast, and powerful, but also capable of knocking us down without warning. The tests come uninvited. A sudden loss, a failure that shakes your confidence, a betrayal from someone you trusted, a moment that changes everything. And in those moments, we feel helpless. We feel like the world is spinning too fast and we are losing our grip. It is natural to feel that way. But here's what we often forget. While we don't have control over life's storms, we always have control over our inner weather, our thoughts, our mindset, our response. How you think is how you live. The direction of your life is not just determined by what happens to you, but by what you believe about what happens to you. That belief is formed in your mind. If your thinking is rooted in fear, you'll respond with fear. If your thinking is rooted in strength, you'll respond with courage, even when you're afraid. Thinking correctly doesn't mean pretending everything is okay. It doesn't mean ignoring pain or bottling up emotions. Thinking correctly means accepting the reality of the situation, but not surrendering your power to it. It's looking at the storm and saying, yes, this is hard, but I am not done. It's about shifting from victimhood to responsibility, not in a way that blames you for what happened, but in a way that empowers you to shape what happens next. In the face of adversity, many people ask, why me? And that's an understandable question. But when you think correctly, you begin to ask a different question. What now? That shift in perspective is powerful. As powerful. Iwai, me, keeps you stuck in the past. What now helps you step into your future. Right thinking also helps you recognize the difference between facts and stories. The fact may be that you fail. The story might be that you are a failure. One is reality. The other is a judgment you've chosen to believe. Thinking correctly teaches you to separate what is from what you tell yourself it means. And often, what we tell ourselves becomes the cage we live in. Correct thinking is the key that unlocks that cage. It reminds you that no single moment defines you. No heartbreak, no rejection, no mistake is bigger than the future that still waits for you. When you think clearly and truthfully, you stop shrinking yourself to fit the opinion of others. As you stop walking on eggshells just to be accepted, you start walking with purpose, even if the road is unfamiliar. So yes, life will test you. It will test your patience, your faith, your resilience. But your power lies in your response. You can either react out of fear or respond with thoughtfulness. You can either sink into despair or rise with intention. That choice is always yours. You might not control when the storm comes, but you do get to decide how you stand in it. You can curse the rain, or you can dance in it. You can feel defeated, or you can say, I've been knocked down before, and I know how to get back up. The most courageous people are not those who never feel fear or pain. They are the ones who feel both deeply and still choose to move forward. They've learned that correct thinking doesn't mean ignoring the problem. It means facing the problem with a mind that says, I will not give up on myself. So, let life test you. Let the world try to shake you. But never let it change the way you believe in yourself. Because when your mind is right, your path will follow, even through the darkest nights. And that is the power of thinking correctly. We grow up in a world that tells us what to think. From the moment we're born, the world begins filling our minds with beliefs, expectations, and definitions. What success looks like, what beauty is, what a meaningful life should be. We're told which paths are respectable, which dreams are too big, and which emotions are acceptable. We are shaped by our surroundings, our schools, our families, and our cultures. But very few people ever pause to ask us, how do you think? That question is deeper, more important, and far more powerful than any list of facts or instructions. Because while knowing what to think can help you pass an exam, Knowing how to think is what helps you live with purpose, strength, and authenticity. Learning how to think means going beyond memorizing what others say is true. That's a say true. It means looking at information, opinions, and even your own emotions through a lens of curiosity and reflection. It's about developing the ability to challenge assumptions, especially the ones you've carried for years without question. Ask a question. It's learning to look at a belief you've always held and ask, does this serve me? Or is this limiting me? Mean you only know what to think. You become a follower of someone else's map. But when you learn how to think, you become the cartographer of your own journey. You stop moving through life on autopilot and you begin to engage with your choices. You ask yourself, why do I want this? Who told me this was important? Am I chasing this goal because it's truly mine, or because it looks good to the world? Correct thinking starts with self-awareness. It's the quiet, powerful practice of becoming honest with yourself. Not in a way that judges you, but in a way that frees you. It allows you to hear your own voice beneath the noise. It invites you to break patterns that were never really yours. It helps you make peace with your past, not by erasing it, but by understanding it and growing from it. And this kind of thinking doesn't come automatically. It requires intention. It requires silence in a world that thrives on distraction. Not the Teddy. It requires the courage to question what you've been taught, even by those you love. Because sometimes, people pass down their fears disguised as wisdom. Sometimes they offer protection that feels like limitation. They mean well, but their experience of life is not your destiny. Thinking correctly also involves emotional intelligence. It means not just reacting to feelings, but understanding them. Why does this make me angry? Why do I feel small in this situation? Why do I always shrink myself when I'm around certain people? These are questions that help you decode your internal world. And once you start thinking that way, you stop seeing emotions as weaknesses. You begin to see them as messages. Guides pointing you toward what needs healing, what needs letting go, and what deserves to stay. In a world that rushes to conclusions, correct thinking is about slowing down. It's about sitting with discomfort, sitting with questions, and being okay with not having all the answers. It's about recognizing that growth is messy and that certainty is often a mask people wear to hide their fear. When you think correctly, you don't seek quick fixes. You seek deeper understanding. People who know how to think don't follow the crowd blindly. They don't get lost in trends, in comparisons, or in the pressure to perform. They create their own definitions of success. Of success. They live by their own values, not because it's easy, but because it's right for them. And that kind of life may not always be loud or glamorous, but it is rich in meaning. So if you find yourself feeling lost or disconnected, don't just ask what you should think next. Ask yourself how you're thinking now. Are your thoughts rooted in truth or in fear? Are they coming from your heart or from a place of insecurity? Are they helping you grow or keeping you small? Because the moment you learn how to think, how to pause, reflect, and choose, you unlock a kind of freedom that no one can take from you. It's the freedom to be yourself, the freedom to walk your path, the freedom to live with clarity and conviction in a world that constantly tries to shape you. That's the kind of thinking that changes not just your life, but the lives of those around you. And it all begins with that one brave question. Not what should I think, but how can I think better? Pain is not your prison, it can be your power. This truth is something many people struggle to understand, especially in moments when the pain feels too deep, too sharp, too overwhelming to be anything other than a burden. We are often taught to avoid pain, to push it away, to hide it behind a smile, or silence it with distractions. We live in a world that rewards appearance over authenticity and strength over sensitivity. And so, when pain comes, we see it as a sign of weakness, a disruption in the perfect image we try to present. But pain is not weakness. It is not shameful. And it is certainly not something that defines your worth. Pain, when faced with the right mindset, becomes the very thing that awakens your strength. There is something extraordinary that happens when you stop fighting your pain and start listening to it. Pain speaks. It reveals. It teaches. It reveals. It teaches. It has a way of peeling away the surface and showing you what truly matters. When everything comfortable is stripped away, what remains is who you really are. And sometimes you won't like what you see at first. You might find anger, fear, bitterness, or regret. But keep looking. It's such a simple sentence, yet so many people spend their lives believing the opposite. They carry their mistakes, failures, and painful memories like heavy luggage, dragging them through every new opportunity, every relationship, every dream. It's as if every wrong step from yesterday writes a permanent label for who they are today. But that is not the truth. Your past is a part of your story. It is not the whole book. It may have shaped you, but it does not own you. You are allowed to grow beyond it. We've all done things we wish we hadn't. We've said words we regret, trusted the wrong people, made choices that led to hurt. Sometimes our own, sometimes others, but that is what it means to be human. Imperfection isn't a flaw in our design, it's part of our journey. And what defines us is not the mistake itself, but what we choose to do after it. Do we stay stuck in guilt and shame? Or do we learn, rise, and try again with a wiser heart? Many people let their past become their prison. Their prison. They replay old failures like a broken record, convinced that they'll never be enough, never be forgiven, never be free. But forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness, is not about excusing what happened. It's about releasing yourself from the chains of a moment you can no longer change. You can no longer change. You cannot rewrite the past, but you can rewrite your relationship with it. You can choose to look back, not with judgment, but with understanding. You can say, that was a version of me who didn't know better, who was hurting, who was learning. And you can thank that version for surviving, even if their choices weren't perfect. Your worth is something deeper than your record of success or failure. It is something you were born with, something no person, mistake, or moment can take away. You don't earn worthiness. You remember it. You remember it. You reconnect with it. You recognize that nothing you've done and nothing you've been through can make you unworthy of love, healing, or hope. So often, people compare themselves to others and feel like they've fallen behind. They look at someone else's highlight reel and think, I could have been there too. If only I hadn't messed up. If only I hadn't taken that path. But life is not a race. There's no timeline you're supposed to follow. Sometimes the detour becomes the most important part of the journey. Sometimes the breakdown becomes the breakthrough. The truth is, some of the strongest, kindest, most inspiring people have the messiest pasts, but instead of hiding them, they've used those experiences as the soil in which their compassion grew. Your past doesn't disqualify you. Right thinking doesn't mean avoiding struggle. It means choosing hope through it. Struggle is not a sign that you're broken or failing. It's a sign that you are alive, that you are growing, that you're pushing against the boundaries of what you've known. And yet, When hardship comes, it's easy to believe that we must have taken a wrong turn, that something has gone terribly wrong. We are conditioned to associate struggle with punishment, as if life owes us a path without resistance. But the truth is, struggle is a part, every journey worth walking. Refines us, reveals us, and sometimes even redirects us. Thinking correctly during struggle doesn't mean plastering a fake smile on your face or pretending that everything is fine. It's not about suppressing your emotions or forcing toxic positivity. It means allowing yourself to feel the weight of the moment while also holding space for the possibility of something better. It's the delicate balance of being honest about what hurts while still believing in what heals. Hope, in this context, is not naive. It's not a denial. It's not a denial of reality. It's the courage to imagine a future beyond the pain of the present. Many people believe they can only have hope once things get better. But hope is not the reward. It's the starting point. Hope is the light you carry into the darkness, not the sunshine that waits on the other side. It's the quiet voice that says, keep going, when everything around you screams, give up. And that voice gets stronger the more you choose to listen to it. Right thinking during a struggle is about perspective. It's about choosing to believe that this moment, however painful, is not the whole story. It's about asking yourself, what can I learn from this? What is life trying to teach me here? That doesn't mean every struggle has a perfect answer or a neat ending. But it does mean that even in the chaos, you can find meaning. You can find purpose in the pain, growth in the grief, and strength in the stillness. Choosing hope doesn't mean you'll always feel hopeful. There will be days when you're tired, discouraged, angry, or numb. That's okay. That's okay. Correct thinking is not about never breaking down. It's about learning how to rebuild. It's about saying, today I feel lost, but I still believe I can find my way. It's about giving yourself permission to rest without giving yourself permission to quit. Quit. When you train your mind to think this way, struggle doesn't defeat you. It develops you. You become more grounded, more aware of your inner strength. You stop seeing challenges as roadblocks and start seeing them as stepping stones. That doesn't mean you enjoy the pain, but it means you recognize the value in walking through it. The struggle shapes you in ways that comfort never could. Correct thinking also helps you stay rooted in the present. During hard times, the mind tends to wander, replaying the past or fearing the future. But when you center yourself in the now, you regain a sense of control. You realize that while you may not know what tomorrow holds, you do have the power to make a choice today. A choice to breathe, to rest, to try, to speak kindly to yourself. These small choices add up. They become the foundation for healing and change. Hope isn't loud. It doesn't always shout. Sometimes it's a whisper. Decision. A quiet determination not to let the storm outside become a storm inside. When you choose hope through struggle, you take back your power. You declare that your spirit is stronger than your circumstances, that your light is not for sale, that your story is still being written, and you are not done yet. So when the struggle comes, and it will, don't ask yourself how to avoid it. Ask yourself how to think through it. Ask yourself how to stay rooted in truth, how to anchor yourself in grace, how to keep moving forward, one step at a time. That is the essence of right thinking. Not perfection, not endless positivity, but a relentless belief that something beautiful can still grow here, because it can, and it will, if you choose to hope. even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Real confidence is not built by proving yourself to others. It's built by accepting yourself as you are. Can I speak with honesty instead of trying to impress? Can I respect my own needs, even if it disappoints someone else? That's where confidence begins. With radical self-acceptance, with integrity, with the willingness to be seen as you are. Confidence is not about proving. It's about being.